Hey guys, this is Brooke Lewis Bellis from I Murders and Slime City Massacre, and you're listening to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
In a world where zombies, ghosts, serial killers, and vampires all exist, it's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin, and they are all that stand between you and the films that could end the world. Welcome to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast. Just want to thank all of our fans and listeners. Really appreciate the support. You guys are awesome. Before we get into tonight's film review, just want to give a quick shout out to our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Everything about our podcast is on the website. All of our episodes and interviews, if you want to check those out. We've done some incredible interviews in the past. Go check them out there in a specific tab by themselves so you don't have to scroll through hundreds of episodes on Apple or Spotify, etc. We also have our store if you want to grab a shirt, a mouse pad, a hat, all that good stuff. We'd love to see your pictures, rep your favorite podcast. And Shan's Etsy page is also attached if you want to grab a tumbler. All of our social media links are on there as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Like us, subscribe us, follow us, all that good stuff. And the last thing I want to shout out on our website is our Patreon. We call it Blood Donors. We have the traditional monthly reoccurring kind. If you want to support us, help us pay the bills, as we say. Or if there's a movie you want us to review, that option is available as well. Just check out our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Also, if you haven't noticed, we've recently joined the Believe Network. So there's some ads on our program now. But if you want ad-free content, go check us out on Blood Donors. The ad-free episodes will be available there. We appreciate your support. We hope you enjoy the episode. All right, guys, get into the film review. We continue on and conclude Dustin's Neon theme. Dustin, would you like to announce your pick and why you picked it, my friend?
I would love to. I was doing that Neon watch through that I've talked about, and I stumbled across a movie from 2017 called Revenge, and I liked it. And I planned on picking it eventually, just didn't know how or when I was going to do it. And then I picked this theme, and I had this movie in mind from the jump. I just think it's really good, and it gets better with every watch. Coralie Fargeet, who I mentioned last episode, she directed this, she wrote this, she also did The Substance, and I just think she's really good. She's really gifted at how she writes scenes, and the what she wants to comes across exactly how I feel like she wanted it to. There's a really strong performance from Matilda Lutz. That's crazy when you think about she had 0 lines of dialogue after the 26-minute mark, and she's the lead of the movie. I think this is a really, like I said on Letterboxd, and I'll say it until I'm blue in the face, this movie is the visual embodiment of you go, girl. Like, these guys sucked, and she got her revenge, pun intended, that's the name of the movie, and it was so satisfying to watch. Like, I love this movie.
Did you say you go, girl?
I did.
Like, I'm just okay.
What are you talking about? I'm a big-time feminist.
I heard him say that.
Sabrina Carpenter and Taylor Swift, all I listen to. Maybe some Chappell Roan, Lana Del Rey.
What's your favorite Chapel song? Pink Pony Club?
I don't want it to be that because that's like what everyone says, but Pink Pony Club is a banger.
My favorite Chappell Roan song is Good Luck, Babe, but we'll move on from that.
Please.
Hey, don't be hating. You ain't even figured out who Paul Wall is yet.
I don't even know who this person is.
All right, let's get back to Revenge. I figured out, Coralie Fargeet hit I hope I said her name right. I don't know. She hit the ground running with this one. Like, she did a really good job making the movie. I'm not going to say I like it as much as The Substance. I really don't. And it's just, I agree 100% with everything you just said, Dustin, except I just don't love it as much as you because it's just so unbelievable with how much everybody freaking survives all movie. And some stuff is just corny to me. Like, I just don't buy it. And I'll touch on that. But I do agree with you. Great performance by Matilda Lutz. I think the filmmaking, the sound design was all very impressive. I loved it. But I don't know. I just couldn't forgive everybody's Chad Meek-isms. It just bothered the hell out of me. But it was still a solid watch. I liked it. Go ahead, Brian.
I mean, look, we've seen a lot of rape and revenge type movies over the years, but yeah, I mean, shit, a lot of horror is pretty formulaic. So, I mean, that didn't diminish this really for me going in because I kind of had something in my head. But the beginning of the second set of scenes here, I was caught super off guard in a good way. And I mean, Nico, you're talking about suspending the disbelief and it just being too much. I agree that I had to suspend disbelief, but it didn't bother me because I kind of this movie reminded me a lot of Jason Statham's movie Crank. Have you ever seen that movie?
It's a good movie.
I'm a sucker for those two Crank movies. I don't know why I asked you if you'd seen them. Jesus Christ. That was dumb. But anyway, look, and you brought up The Substance. I was pretty locked in on The Substance when we watched it, and the same writer and director. Like you mentioned, I had high hopes, and I wasn't disappointed. I mean, this was a nice little original story that with a nice little twist that I wasn't expecting. You know, one of the issues that I had with The Substance was the low rewatchability, but I don't have that issue here. It kind of kept me engaged, entertained. You know, it's going to get a decent score from me simply for that reason. I mean, sometimes I just want to be entertained, and this entertained me, you know?
No, this movie is entertaining. I'm not going to debate that.
I definitely agree with what you said. Like, it's just the pacing is great because once you get the event that happens that sparks this whole thing, you don't have to lock in. Like, there's some things that happen that you can pick up on, and it'll help you, I guess. But like, if you want to check your phone while you're watching it and just look back at the screen, you haven't really missed anything that's going to change the outcome of the movie. Those movies are nice every now and then. Like, I don't want to have to lock in Ari Aster style every single time I watch a movie, even though he is one of the best to ever do it. Like, sometimes I just want to be entertained. And this one is entertaining, but still has a great message and story.
Dustin just said, sometimes I want to see dicks on the screen all the time. Sometimes I just don't.
Well, speaking of, let's go ahead and jump into the scene by scene. All right. Now, you guys have any other opening thoughts?
Yeah, so, I mean, I had never seen this movie. I don't think I'd ever heard of this movie unless it was in passing and I just forgot. Normally not a grape. I don't know if we're allowed to say the R word on podcast platform, but I'm normally not a big fan of these revenge, for lack of a better term, style movies when it comes to this, but I thought this one was really well done. I think this is the best movie of the month by far, and if my rating doesn't reflect that, that's a complete accident. Having seen this now, this is definitely the best movie that we've done this month for Neon here. I think, the acting is, good enough, but I think the visuals really make this movie. I think there's some awesome shots, great gore. It's fast, it's action-packed, and our victim gets their full revenge. Some of it's not as satisfying as I would have liked to be, looking at you, Stan, but I do think that this is the best movie we've done this month by far. I am glad that I watched it because I do think it's really well done, really well made, and I think the justice ends up getting served in a weird, twisted, vigilante shit way. That's a Taylor Swift reference, you guys.
Nope.
All right. So I'm doing the scene by scene for this one. Lord bear me strength. We open with a stunning nature shot and see a helicopter fly through. We get a trippy reflection in some aviators and see a man with a handsome woman going to town on a sucker behind him. The pilot drops him off at an isolated house and gives Richard some peyote, and the couple wastes no time getting straight to the action. After she plays the pink oboe, we cut to the man, Richard, answering a phone call from his wife while dressed in his birthday's best. And then he's back to bed with Jen and tells her everything would be so simple if the kids weren't there. I get his dilemma. Cheating is a burdensome sport. The next morning, we get a look at the house's beautiful scenery and then a look at Jen's beautiful scenery as she walks to the fridge. She's startled by a man with a large rifle over his shoulder looking at her through the window, and then another one arrives. They're associates of Richard, and they got there a day early. He introduces Jen as his friend, and they're understandably speechless. The group all head out to the pool and then party it up while watching wrestling and smoking cigars. Typical night for me, Richard's associates are getting friendly with Jen. Well, one of them is. The other is just staring at her with binoculars like a lunatic. Jen takes the peyote inside to hide it, and after she stashes it in her locket, she puts on a dance for the boys. Stan gets the privilege of dancing with her while Dimitri drools. Richard, tired of being dance cooked, decides that's enough, and he picks Jen up to take her inside. The next morning, Stan greets her for breakfast, and Dimitri is floating in the pool. Stan tells her Richard is gone for the morning. Stan seems to think that he's going to get lucky, but Jen isn't interested and says she's going to start packing. After showering, she gets dressed and is shocked to find Stan peeping on her. He makes things really awkward and uncomfortable and gives her his card. She tries to let him down easy, but he turns aggressive. He asks what she doesn't like about him, and she says that he's not her type and says he's too short. She tries to walk away, but he impedes her and starts to sexually assault her when Dimitri walks in. He tells Dimitri to get lost, and after a pause and a bite of a candy bar, he closes the door and leaves. That's the open.
That wrestling scene, Dustin, there was I was trying to figure out which one it was, and I saw Drew McIntyre. I thought it was Drew McIntyre at first, but it wasn't. Do you have any idea who that was or what that match was?
You know, I've thought about, because when it happened, I didn't stop it and go back and rewatch it, and it's a pretty brief look that we get. But I thought about trying to figure that out, and I forgot. I'll be honest with you. I'll do that.
So I want to start out by saying I love Neon's little open. I know we've talked about this before, but I don't know if I've ever said anything. I love their little neon side open. This is also some long-ass opening credits here, man. Like, what are we doing? And then we get Hello, Jen. Good stuff, man. Jen on my screen more. Maybe not in the scene that comes a little bit later, but in everything else. Whew, man, call me sometime. I'm bringing it back just for this one episode. This is something. Dustin's making my ass read subtitles, which I don't appreciate. I get tired when you guys do this shit. I don't have enough brain power, man. I'm too stupid. Anyway, Jen, what a woman that Jen is here, man. At least this is a movie that opens with a BJ and not masturbation. Looking at you, Ari Aster. Then we get a little shot of man ass. Always funny, like I've mentioned. Listen, I can't blame Richard for being all over this woman either, man. I'd have a hard time staying away. Now, back to Jen. Great woman. Corded headphones. What are we doing? What year is this supposed to be taking place in? If this is current, I don't know why we're doing corded headphones. I know there's some people on this show that use them. Okay. I will say they're reliable as far as I don't have to charge them, but I can't move freely around my house with these corded headphones. I've gotten too spoiled, man. I love how we kind of get a little bit of a glimpse right away that Richard calls her just a friend. And I'm like, oh, this isn't all on the up and up. And it's not because they're in an affair. And they both know they're in an affair. So kind of fuck them. Now, obviously, that doesn't justify anything that happens to Jen. But just in this scene, I'm like, oh, man, fuck these two. These two are committing an affair together. Ooh, and we get a little pro wrestling on the screen. All right, man, that's a score bump right there. Look, anything that gets you as high as they're describing is too fucking much. Set down the drugs and just enjoy life for what it is. I will say she's being all sexy and feeling herself, but just judging by scene, this is a first time watch. I had a bad feeling about where this was headed for her. So that's unfortunate. And every Neon movie that we've done is like taking acid. Like, this is so trippy. Some of the shots and the visuals, it's almost just there to be cool visuals instead of telling part of the story, which is fine. I just, it gets a little fart sniffery for my taste, but it's not, it's fine. But every Neon movie is starting to become like this. I don't understand why we keep seeing the rotten apple. Less rotten apple, more Jen, please. Obviously, Stan here is a creep. We're about to find out why. This girl just took a shower. He's a fucking asshole. And a lot of angry incel men, for lack of a better term in this country, are just like this guy. Last thing I have, this is a tough watch. They don't show it in gratuitous fashion, but they don't shy away from the noises. And, there's a shot of Jen looking out the window when this happens. It really is tough to stomach. Not a fan of assault on my screen. I'm just not. I never will be. Again, I like this movie, but I just wish they was almost implied instead of shown. But I guess there's a line that you can toe there where it's like, this is what it actually is like, and it's gruesome, and it shouldn't just be glossed over, and I can understand that as well.
All right, y'all bear with me. I had quite a bit on this opening set of scenes. Beautiful shot of the desert. This film was shot in Morocco. I really have no desire to ever visit there, but I thought the scenery was beautiful. Overhead shot of the helicopter that transitions into this bit of sound I thought was excellent. got me in the mood for a revenge style flick. Richard has helicopter money. He wants to be Mike Settle so bad. Every time I hear the name Roboito, all I can think of is the Water Boy. I don't know if that's what y'all thought of too, but I just think, Roboito, that's your daddy. Matilda Lutz as Jen. I'm not familiar with her game, but I will give her mother and father credit. They made a beautiful offspring. I'm just going to leave it at that. Coralie has established she is not afraid to get all up in our faces with sexual acts or nudity. Like this blowjob scene within the first 5 minutes is wild, and I was not expecting it. I think the name Richard is appropriate because this guy is a dick. On the phone with his wife while his mistress waits for him in bed. Like, that's crazy. But I feel like Dustin was clapping for him.
Yeah, I mean, listen, don't let your wife stand in the way of you finding your soulmate. That's a motto I live by. Anyway.
What'd you say? Cheating is a what kind of sport?
Cheating is a burdensome sport.
Dude, you're so funny in the scene by saying Oh, God. Jen acts all upset in bed until he starts complimenting her ass. Got her to turn that frown upside down real quick. Valid reaction by Jen. I'd drop my dishes and panic too if I saw two armed strangers outside the house I was staying. Like, what the hell is going on? I'm very weirded out if I'm her. I'm brought to this vacation spot and wasn't told about two strange men being here as well. Like, what the hell is going on? These guys' stares and looks have me creeped out already. Like, this is like, they're not subtle at all. Like, I'm very scared if I'm a woman. I did laugh at Stan asking Richard about his wife and kids. I thought that was great comedic timing. Coralie has also established after 2 films she's big on loud music and sound design in her films, which I love. I think she was incredible in The Substance. And I just want to reiterate this. I say this a couple times, but I'm not victim blaming here, but a question. Why isn't Jen more creeped out by this guy sitting at the table with like him using binoculars to like stare at her? Like, I don't know. I found that very odd and very creepy. This dancing scene is odd to me as well. I get where writer-director Coralie Farge is coming from. She said Jen can be an empty, stupid object if she wants, and that doesn't justify her future assault. I agree 100% with that. Well, Jen saw these disgusting stares from these men like goggling or like, I don't know. It's just, I wouldn't be dancing with them. Like, I don't know. I just wouldn't even lead him on like that. On my first watch, I felt very weirded out by this scene, and I just don't understand the logic. Stan continues to be a creep. He's being way too extra, touched all over her back, and is giving her the where's my hug stare too long. I don't like this scenario for Jen whatsoever. Stan looks very annoyed Jen didn't give him attention. Like, I just don't like where this is going. Stan appears while Jen is butt naked and changing clothes. I really hate this guy, and I'm wishing something terrible for him. And I really wish his kill later on was a little bit better, to be honest. Stan insults Jen, assuming her of having an oyster brain, and questions the dance from last night. You liked me last night, but not today. Like, that's just psychotic behavior. And, Brian mentioned what kind of movie this is. I'm not a fan of them, really. Rape and Revenge is just not, they're just not comfortable for me to watch. But knowing this was written and directed by a woman and the title of the film, I think I know where she will, I know where this movie is going, right? She's going to get her vengeance. I understood in The Substance showing Dennis Quaid's up close, like eating the shrimp, pointing out his flaws and like, his looks while he judges women. But why here? I just didn't understand, like, why zoom in on this guy eating that candy? Dimitri walking away, allowing the assault to happen. So disgusting, and her cries of agony broke me. I thought it was a rough ending to the set of scenes, but the opening set of scenes was very good. Very good.
So I want to touch on something you said there. So I get what you're saying. Like, it's awkward. Like, why would she dance with these guys? They're staring. But I think you agree, or I know you agree. It doesn't excuse what he does. It doesn't justify it. It doesn't give him reason to like, oh, you dance with me, so yeah, we're doing the sex now. No. But I liken it to, I've spent many nights in dance clubs or at house parties where we got music playing. Listen, sometimes girls just want to dance and they're just having fun. That doesn't mean she's into you, bro. Like that's the kind of guys that think the stripper really likes me. She said I was a great guy. No, man. Like, she just wanted to dance and have a good time. That does not give you the green light. So
I agree.
It wasn't uncommon or uncomfortable for me to watch because, like, I've danced with hundreds of girls that blew me off immediately after. That's just reality of life. Kobe didn't score 60 by taking 10 shots. No, he had to keep chucking that ball. So,
You know what? I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
This is exactly how I felt about Strange Thing with the Johnsons. Man, like, he's your dad. He just hugs you and kisses you. Like, he's not that into you. It doesn't mean he's that into you, bro.
I did not know where that was going.
Yeah, I was nervous. All right. Let's keep it moving along here. Anyway, Stan forces himself on Jen, and Dimitri walks off, ignoring her screams and turning on the TV to drown them out. He goes for a swim as Stan rapes Jen up against the window in a truly disgusting scene. Richard finally returns, and the two douchebags are sitting on the couch, and Stan tells Richard there's a problem with Jen. Richard goes to check on her, and she cries and tells him to call the helicopter. Richard yells at Stan in the other room, and Jen takes a nap. When she wakes up, Richard tells her everything is fixed, and he found her a job, and he transferred her some money. Hush money, it seems like. Richard victim blames Jen, saying she's too beautiful to resist. She threatens to call Richard's wife, so he slaps her. That's a bold man. I don't condone that. Cheating's one thing, but good night. Draw a line. She takes off running outside, and Richard and his laggies chase after her. She hits a dead end at a cliff, and Richard borrows Stan's phone to call for the chopper. Psych! He pushes her off the cliff, and she lands on a dead tree with the trunk impaling her torso. Richard tells the others that she could have put them in jail, so they'll go hunting as planned and clean up the mess along the way. Back at the house, he burns Jen's clothes, and the trio gears up for hunting. After Richard calls his wife, Stan apologizes about Jen, and Richard says he's never heard of her. Speaking of, we cut to an ant in the sand who's getting a blood shower courtesy of Jen. It was like being in a feud with Gangrel on Monday Night Raw in the 90s. She regains consciousness, but she's in a bad way. She manages to reach a lighter and tries to burn herself at the stake. Actually, it's a genius plan and very quick thinking on her part, because once she set fire to it, the rotted tree breaks and she's freed. The three jackasses go speeding through the desert and pull up to the cliff where Jen took her spill and can't believe their eyes when they don't see her below. Richard tells Stan that she's alone, guts hanging out, and they're armed. He tells him to pick up his balls and they're going to go find her. Go ahead.
Look, man, Richard is a fucking loser. I don't know if I've said that yet, but he's a fucking loser. And, you know, he's defending these two idiots, Dimitri and Stan, by trying to buy his way out of her being assaulted. You know, Jim bringing up his wife is also kind of a dumb move, man. I know that she thinks she holds all the cards, but I feel like I've watched a couple movies lately where sometimes you got to play along to get along until you can kind of make your way out and escape and expose these motherfuckers. I think the easier move, and I don't know what kind of business they're in, the easier move would have been to just kill Stan, right? I mean, that's really what it should have come down to. I feel like that's a much smarter way that Richard could have handled this. And I was just not expecting a stomach impalement by her being pushed off of a cliff. I was not expecting that. Brutal, gruesome. Ugh. I hate Richard, man. Calling his wife, kind of carrying on this double life about how much he loves her and misses her. Fuck this guy. He's such a piece of shit. And Stan apologizing, you know, sorry about Jen. Just put a bullet between this man's eyes. He deserves it. Gross visual here when the ants are kind of crawling around in the blood. A cool visual, but a gross visual. And I don't know, man. I think I'd rather be dead than wake up with this spike in my stomach, you know, in my midsection, you know, especially after what already happened to her. Got to be the worst day ever experienced by almost anybody. Last thing, you know, this was hard to watch to continue to see her struggle, but there was a lot of cool visuals. I love the shot of her getting underneath the rocks just in time to escape from them. I thought that was really well done.
At this point, I'm just disgusted and ready for these men to be slaughtered. Was the plan all along to bring the mistress here just to beat one more time and then kill her, or was this all just a big, ugly mistake? Canada is not Los Angeles, brother. No disrespect to our Canadian listeners, but I feel like LA is a little bit different. Unreal, he blames her looks, justifying why she got assaulted. I chuckled at Dimitri and Stan taking off running after the two whenever they see him running in the desert. I know Dimitri's fat ass was just hating that. The earrings Jen wears were worn by Margaret Qualley as Sue in The Substance. I thought that was a nice little nod. And someone turned on Bailey Zimmerman. Talk about being between a rock and a hard place at the edge of this cliff. I couldn't imagine what's going through Jen's mind right now, and there's no way I'd believe he's making a call without it being on speakerphone. Jen gets pushed off this high-ass cliff and gets punctured through her core by this tree. Like, I've mentioned this already, but this is just my biggest qualm. I just don't buy her surviving this. The height of the fall, the puncture wound, the blood loss. I can't give it a pass, and honestly, all the people survived way too much damage like nothing happened to them, which I'll address later. Truly psychopathic behavior, just jump on the phone with your wife and act like nothing happened. Like, I just don't understand. Do people not have guilty consciences? I do. Love the sound design of this blood. Teach me your ways, brother. Love the sound design of this blood dripping to the earth by the ants. I thought that was great. I'm rooting for Jen in this movie, obviously, but I got to keep a spade a spade. I don't understand how she survives this injury. The one time in history corded headphones were better than AirPods that she uses them to grab the lighter. This is some smart thinking, but I'm not sure that's enough brush to get this tree lit on fire. But it is a desert, so I can't give it a pass. Maybe it's not, it is pretty dead, I guess. The base of the tree breaks pretty quick as well. If it was that weak, you'd figure that her impact would just break it. That's just me. I'm like Richard, thinking if she managed to escape, she will be dead soon. That fall, the wound was horrific, and their arm, she isn't like what are the odds she's going to survive? Last thing I got, crazy how much of a bitch Stan is to the guys, but it's all tough when he assaults Jen. Loser.
I would say the odds of her surviving are 1-to-1, seeing as how we saw it happen. And first of all, I told you, I texted you this. It's plausible that she didn't die. She landed on a tree. Her head didn't make impact with the ground. Nothing made impact with the ground. She landed on the tree, and the tree didn't puncture any vital organs. Yeah, she lost a lot of blood. That part I'll give you. But the fall, nah, that's good.
I mean, where she got punctured, you're hitting small intestine, lower intestine, possible stomach.
She had
major
parts of her
arteries.
intestines removed to keep her girlish figure.
I don't think that's how it works, but okay.
What I will point out is that the wounds on her front and the back, like they focused on the front, which was ridiculous, but it should have been like
Destroyed.
open. It was like there was like nothing but this tattoo, which we'll get to that, but that's not implausible at all anyway.
What I'm hearing is that you two don't think that strong women exist.
Oh, brother.
This is crazy.
fucking guy. This is
Crazy.
what the hell is going on here?
All right. Jen hears the three start their vehicles, and we cut to nighttime. Must have taken the scenic route because it's pitch black nighttime, and Richard and the other two dicks are finally down below at the tree. They search for clues, and Dimitri grabs her iPod. We get a cool tracking shot of headlights following a trail of blood that leads them to a creek. They split up, and Stan stays where he is in case she comes back. We cut to Jen walking up the creek, and she hides beneath the surface as Dimitri rides past. He decides to take a leak, and it proves to be something I always say to be true. You never really know when your last piss will be. Jen sneaks up and grabs his rifle, but it wasn't loaded. He radios the others to tell them that he's got her, and Stan starts listening to Jen's iPod in relief. Dimitri is violently baptizing Jen in the creek, and she decides that it's not really her religion, so she grabs his knife and stabs him in the eye. Go, girl. She retrieves the knife from his face and heads off on his four-wheeler until she runs out of gas. She sets up camp in a cave and grabs a brewski from Dimitri's backpack. She decides the tree in her abdomen has overstayed its welcome, so she ingests the peyote and decides to go to work once it kicks in and she's tripping balls. She cuts the tree out and solders the beer can to go to cover the hole and stop the bleeding. Insanity.
I actually do love caves, despite their previous appearances on this show. Truly one of nature's wonders. And yeah, she could definitely hide out in these caves for a long time. Like having been down in some deep caves in Arizona and Tennessee, Colorado, there's a lot of places. I don't know if I said Colorado, but anyway, I have been to Colorado, but that's not the point. Caves you can definitely hide out in and probably never be found unless you wanted to be. There's a lot of places. And there's just a really good shot of Mr. Grape Man. I have to say it, even though I hate Stan. Standing in the light with the gun on the water. I thought, again, more cool visuals. Don't know if they really add to the story, but really cool shots again. And I'm not saying this story is completely unrealistic, right? It's hard to believe that she would be alive and up and at him. I don't know the science behind it, if it could be possible, but I feel like a stomach impalement's almost enough to just knock anybody out until they bled out. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Dimitri is the dumbest motherfucker in the group. I think that's pretty clear. He had a chance to just shoot her, and instead he wanted to make her sit through some kind of suffering or something. I don't know, man. It feels like a complete waste of time. These people are insane. Stan just kind of relaxing and turning on that music was wild. Just he's a psychopath. I don't want to say the wrong thing there. He's a psychopath for sure. More great shots and visuals riding around the desert. Shout out to Brian with some nature shots. Did she just pop an energy drink? Like, let's fucking get this party started. I don't know. That's what it looked like to me. Hell, man, that, given there's a massive hole in her stomach or spike or whatever, probably didn't feel too good, right? I don't know. It may not have set too well. A lot of carbonation down there. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. She also took drugs. I think this drug trip scene is hilarious. I don't know if it's unintentional or intentional. I think it's fucking funny. And as she kind of pulls this spike rock out of her stomach, man, it is just hard to watch. Fuck. Makes my skin crawl. I'm not a big fan of it, but that's all I have.
More great sound design as they hunt after Jen. I thought it was very intense. Stan is such a coward, and I can't wait for this guy's downfall. What a fucking loser this guy is. First watch, I thought the seatbelt would come into play, but instead it was just an annoying sound and a waste of a few moments of the movie. Jen has to be terrified hearing a vehicle approaching her. Luckily, she's able to hide away quick enough. Good for her. I knew this was going to be too easy for Jen when she sees Dimitri's rifle. It's like he was just baiting her to show herself. Jen still hasn't removed the wooden spike that stabbed her and was just knocked on the ground. How isn't that hurting her immensely? How hasn't she bled out yet? Give me a break.
Adrenaline.
Oh, fuck.
In
Here
my
we
soul.
fucking go. Big
Cody
Dakota
Rhodes,
Johnson
something
fan over here.
Cody Johnson.
Smart on.
Cody Rhodes.
I know. I'm just.
I don't know
I'm
who
fucking
Cody
with you,
Johnson
though.
is.
Who?
Smart on the fly kill by Jen to grab Dimitri's knife. And while I don't feel sorry for him in the slightest, I'm just saying getting stabbed in the eye would be the worst, I tell you what. Appreciate that Coralie didn't give us some dumb fake scare from Dimitri as she removes the knife from his skull. I really appreciate that. I just knew that he was going to be alive and try and grab her one more time. I appreciate he was just dead. Saying it again, love the sound design and score as Jen drives his ATV through the desert. And I know that hot Mexican beer tasted like nectar to Jen. I could not imagine how thirsty and drained she was at this point. More smart thinking of her to take the drugs to numb out the pain. The loud music got me on my first watch, scared the hell out of me when she started tweaking. Jen should have pushed that object out of her back and not pulled it forward. And the tattoo left behind from the beer can, I just found it cheesy. It's way too perfect looking. Come on now, movie. The average person has 9 pints of blood in their body. You telling me she hasn't lost enough blood the past few hours to go into shock yet? All right. Decent set of scenes, but the I'm sorry, I just can't forgive that is kicking in hard. Sorry, Dustin.
No, you're good. So the average person does have 9 pounds of blood, but women, you forget, have more because they lose 2 pints a month. So she's good.
Is that scientific?
I don't think that's how that works. Maybe not.
Oh, anyway. I didn't pay attention to science class. We see Stan snoozing away the next morning when Richard wakes him up with a dead animal splattering on the windshield. Stan goes to take a leak by the water, drowning a spider in piss in the process, which we lingered on way too much. And while he's washing off, he's shocked to see Dimitri's corpse float up to the surface. I guess down there you'll float too. Richard can't believe what he's seeing and drags Dimitri out of the water. Stan is in shock and blames Richard since he pushed Jen off the cliff. They toss Dimitri back into the water and Richard punches Stan in the face, breaking his nose. I laughed. They head out and we see Jen still sleeping in the cave. She wakes up and admires her surgery. Sick artwork, sis. That beer company needs to sponsor her. And as she heads out, Richard pops up and blows her head off. False alarm. It was just a dream. So she has a couple other nightmares and takes off running through the desert. Some very surreal imagery is on screen. When she wakes up for real, though, that was more dreaming. When she wakes up for real, she gathers her weaponry and supplies and starts her trek. She's got a long walk ahead of her as we see there's nothing in sight all around her. We cut to Richard and Stan in the abandoned four-wheeler, and their game planning. They're going to split up despite Stan's protest. Jen spots the sun glaring off a mirror Stan is using, and she's got her next target on her revenge tour. Stan's driving along when he, unluckily for him, runs out of gas.
Tell you what, I could have gone without watching Stan piss. I don't know what movies and TV shows are doing with all this piss stuff lately. Even King of the Hill reopened with Hank Hill taking a piss on an airplane. So I don't know what that's about. But yeah, man, eat shit, Stan. Okay. It's pretty clear that Richard hates this guy. He's ruined everything, and now he's acting like a little pussy. What a fucking moron, man. God, he's one of the worst people we've covered on this show, in my opinion. There's some long pull-away shots in the desert that I think just look awesome. They actually help me get in the mood for what's to come of the movie and make me want to keep watching. I will say, random ass multiple dream sequence. I know that she's on drugs or maybe coming down off of drugs, but I don't know. Very random. I was kind of hoping to just straight shot this movie, but we get some fake outs here. I'm not a massive fan. Now, I will say, she may be the most scantily clad heroine we've had. I can't think of another one. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying it is interesting. I think this may have been intentional by the filmmakers to just kind of show, hey, just because, it shouldn't matter how she's dressed, she's worthy of life and she's worthy of, justice. And I appreciate that as well. Regardless of these shots of her standing and looking out are special. I feel like this movie is attacking me and the male gaze. But, oh, well, there's nothing I could do with that. I understand that viewpoint. Stan is, it bears repeating. Stan is such a fucking little pussy, man. Like, not only does he assault women when he doesn't get his way, now he's just moving and running away like a scared bitch. He's got to be one of my least favorite characters we've covered. I do think it's funny that she thought that she was about to sniper this guy from up here. All right, man. Last thing, I've never been so happy to watch someone run out of gas.
Yeah, I hate Stan. I'm ready for him to get got. I'm just throwing that out there. Stan's crash out finding Dimitri was annoying. Quit being a bitch, fake tough guy. Richard and Stan both suck, but I love how much of a dick Richard is to Stan. Like, he just bitches him the whole movie, and I love it. Again, loving the choice to basically go silent as they drive through the desert and then add the menacing tones. Like, Coralie is, like, one of the best with the sound. Like, I'm a big fan of that. I might be being overly critical here, but I'm not a fan of the repeated dream sequences, but I did laugh at Stan being compared to a lizard. The tattoo and the wound being healed so perfectly and her acting like she didn't go through what she just went through is really bothering me, honestly. Like, how can you justify this? Richard ain't keeping that same energy, I've noticed. He thought this was going to be an easy process finding Jen. And I laughed again. Are we in a fucking forest? He's so tired of Stan shit. And you know what? So am I. Fuck that guy. Last thing I got, Jen has locked eyes on Stan's vehicle, and I am ready to see his demise. Are we in a forest? Dude, that was funny. That was funny as hell.
All right. Stan's demise. Speaking of, Stan gets out of the SUV to grab a gas can, and Jen plots her move. She can't pull the trigger at first, but gets a second look and pops Stan in the shoulder. She gathers herself to finish him, but he's gone. She moves closer and finds a trail of blood. Stan realizes he's leading her to him and ties off his wound with a sock. Stan's able to hide and watch her pass, and now he's behind her. He Donald Trumps her with his shot, hitting her in the ear only, and now Jen's just like Sterling Archer. Tinnitus. Stan fires a couple more shots, but misses, and she breaks her flashlight on a rock as she's running, taking him out when he runs over it with his bare foot. Quick thinking, Jen. Stan's got a gnarly gash in his foot, but I can't get over the fact that he smeared foot blood all over his face and then licked his lips. What's this guy's problem? He fishes the glass shard out of his foot and heads back to the SUV. He comes barreling down the road towards Jen, but she puts a shot through his dome before he can get her, and now she's got some wheels. Richard tries to radio Stan, but he's a little incapacitated, so Richard throws a tantrum and then drives off on his dirt bike. He races through the desert to a groovy score and some cool visuals and makes it back to the house, where he immediately discards his helmet and dunks his head in the pool to cool down. And the next set of scenes is the ending.
Is that a funnel or a massive water bottle full of gas? I was very confused, and dog, you had a bullseye right on Stan and you didn't take it. I don't know. Here's a good shot, but I feel like this death would be too dignified for him. He is the one that deserves that slow, painful death. He just deserves it. Of course, he ran away, wincing like my dog does when he has to take a shit. And how the fuck are these two still at each other? I feel like we get too long of a chase scene here. I just want to see Stan's on-screen death. I would kill this motherfucker slowly with that piece of glass. Make him feel every piece of it. And Stan is a terrible shot. Hank Hill is a better shot. There's a second King of the Hill reference on this show. I like that we have this back and forth. I just think it goes on way too long. We obviously know it's going to lead to Stan's death, but it just took longer than I would have liked to have gotten there, and I would have liked a more satisfying on-screen death personally. But I guess that's not realistic in a movie that's kind of unrealistic. Richard standing around and kicking the shit out of the air in the dirt was me during every single FSU football game last year. God damn it. That's all I had.
Yep. These guys went back to operations before pursuing Jen. Why didn't they fill the rig up? Why not put the extra fuel in there from the get-go? Like, these guys suck as bounty hunters. Think smart here, Jen. You let that guy fill up the truck, then you shoot. No need to add another chore to the day. Let him fill the truck up. I'm going to give Stan's actor Vincent Colombe credit. Like, his scream of despair was very good. And I'm still laughing at you saying he wiped foot blood on his face and licked his lips. That's funny as hell. Jen making a rookie mistake here. When I used to play Halo, it's a video game, guys, my key rule was never to chase whenever you shot somebody but you didn't kill him. You know, this guy could be hiding around any corner and get the upper hand on you, or he could shoot you. You never chase. What did I just say, Jen? Luckily, folk missed and only grazed her ear. Smart thinking to bash the flashlight on the rock, and my lord, that foot wound looked horrific. God, I know that shit hurt so bad. Big props to the effects team led by Pierre Emmanuel Cass, I guess how you say it, because that wound looked gnarly as hell. I laughed again seeing Stan try to get the engine to turn over, pressing the pedal with his mangled foot hard as he could. God, I know that hurt like almighty hell. And Jen shoots him in the dome, which I love to see, but how did he not drive this vehicle off the cliff? I guess the budget couldn't afford sacrificing the vehicle and blowing it up. And I'm not buying that she was able to get out of the way fast enough. Did we all witness with our own eyes how fast that vehicle was moving and how close she was to it? I don't think the movie is boring by any means, but we can keep things going. I don't need to see Richard crashing out in the desert this long. Nighttime again, and Jen is alive like nothing ever happened. This movie said, fuck logic, just vibes. And the last thing I got is love the soundtrack that plays as Richard drives back to the house. Let's end the movie, and let's see Richard get killed finally.
Bro, I'm starting to think this is personal. You were ripping this movie to shreds.
I don't hate it.
I think you hate it just because I think it's personal towards me. Or maybe you just hate women.
You know what they say about throwing rocks in glass houses, Dustin?
Yeah, I do. I do it all the time. I definitely do.
I'm ready to see Little Richard the entire last set of scenes here.
What do you mean by that, brother?
Oh, you know what he means.
Because Little Richard's out the whole time. It's wild.
Ari Aster directed the ending.
I'm pumping just the ending.
All right, guys. Well, here is the ending. After his plunge, Richard lays by the pool, hacking up a lung before heading inside. He calls for the chopper, who says he'll be there in a half hour. He goes for a shower, but it's cut short when he hears something in the other room. Gun in hand, he goes to check it out, but finds nothing except the pool vac. He heads back inside, and the TV gives him and us a good jump scare. He goes to turn it off, but sees Jen pointing a gun at him through the window. After a stare down, she blasts him in the side, and we've got a gunfight. He crawls away, and she follows a trail of blood through the hall. She stops just short of a doorway where he has a gun drawn waiting for her. She's saved by seeing his blood pool expanding towards her and goes back the other way. They both go on the hunt, but he's feeling a little woozy here, man, due to the, blood loss. He saran wraps his side to keep his innards from becoming outwards, and it becomes a game of who will make the first misstep. Jim blitzes, and Richard runs out of ammo. He needed Herschel's cheat code. They run around and round until Jen slips on the blood and eats a gun butt to the face when Richard catches up. When she wakes up, she grabs for the gun, but Richard and his dangling Richard snatch her up. As he's yelling at her, she jabs her hand into the wound on his side, giving her enough time to grab the gun and finish him off with a shotgun blast to the chest. She heads outside, and I couldn't help but wonder what the cleaning fee would be on this house because there is blood everywhere. We hear the helicopter arriving, and the credits roll.
First of all, this house is way nicer than I thought. It's about to be fucking ruined with blood, but Richard, a terrible liar. How has he not been caught yet, having this affair? I don't know. Maybe he has. But anyway, I feel like we get way too much time just watching my man Dick, that's Richard, walk around. He's getting undressed and getting in the shower. I don't know. He stays naked the rest of the movie, which I'm pretty sure was intentional as well. Not that I'm not into what happens to him, but I just feel like we spend forever watching this naked person walk around. There's a great shot of Jen standing outside the blue window as she's about to fucking blast it. It's awesome. She finally nailed some good shots on someone, but how has she not landed that kill shot yet? Blow this motherfucker's brains out. All right, as it said on Halloween Kills, I'm gonna blow this motherfucker's brains out. That's what I wanted to see. How did he make it and crawl over to get a gun? I don't understand. These cuts back and forth are kind of wasting time.
I just want the confidence that Kevin Jansen has. God.
You ever been to a gym and use the showers? Old dudes just let them hang even if they don't hang. What kind of confidence those old men on?
They're on fuck it vibes.
I guess.
They're hung like light switches, and they're like, look at this.
Jesus.
I don't know why I'm laughing. Me too. All right, anywho. I am so ready for Richard's demise. Let's get it, Jim. We're all rooting for you right now. Real talk, why didn't Richard just leave anyways? He knew the injury she had and how brutal the surroundings were. What was the likelihood she was going to survive and make it to a phone or another person for help? Whatever that Avatar-looking Mona Lisa painting is, it wouldn't be in my house. That thing is terrifying. You know, that's just some good review talk for me. You know, Dustin mentioned this recently in a review, and Richard has to live it. Fighting while dick swinging is a man's nightmare. I don't want these problems at all. The camera work is exceptional as it tracks and spins around Richard walking through the home. Bro has enough time to walk outside and walk the full length of the pool. He had time to go inside and put some damn shorts on. I'm just saying, take care. I would have shit myself if the TV would have turned on randomly with me. You know, I'm on edge right now. Like, I'm scared at this point. Jen right outside the window and takes too long to shoot. She should have unloaded the clip on his ass. I do recommend charging now, unload the clip, and then make sure he never takes another breath. More great camera work and tension as Jen pursues, and very keen of her to notice his blood pull up on the floor before going around the corner. You know, I wish he would have shot him through the walls personally instead of just trying to run off. Richard has no shot or visuals of her and just keeps shooting. This guy was a hunter. Like, what is this guy doing? He's been bleeding profusely from what I know would be a fatal wound, and he's running no problem. Like this has to be adrenaline because, like, you're just fucking with me now at this point. Her slipping in the blood was unfortunate, and how does he get a gun butt to her head and still fuck this up for himself? Very smart of Jen again to finger his gunshot wound to get out of his grip. And finally, she shot and killed him. We love to see all these bad, evil fellas gone from the earth. And the last thing I got is, as Jen leaves the house, you can't help but notice all the blood. The prop team ran out of fake blood multiple times. You know, even though it didn't work for me, I can't appreciate how over-the-top Coralie went with it. And she got what she wanted, so I appreciate that.
And I thought the blood looked good. Like, we've seen a lot of bad-looking fake blood.
It looked very good.
Yeah. I can't get over the fact you just said that she fingered his wound. Like,
yeah,
it makes me want to redo my scene by scene and put that she spread it open and flicked the bean.
Jesus Christ.
Well, she did. Let's jump into our social media comments and questions. Brian Godspeed on Matthew Heffer's comment on Facebook. He just commented a little bit ago. I'll knock out Instagram real quick. Dana Tucker 48 commented, "This movie was sexy and brutal as hell. I'm glad Dustin picked it." All right. Adam_man commented, "If you were going to give yourself a beer can logo branding tattoo, what would be your beer of choice?"
Oh, easy. Brother, PBR is the greatest beer God ever put on this planet. So give me that blue ribbon.
That's rough.
PBR is cool, but I would probably get the Coors Light Mountains. Those are pretty cool. Or maybe like an old school like Budweiser can from like the early 90s. That'd be pretty badass too.
True story. I have a friend who just a couple months ago went halfway across the country to hang out with this girl he was talking to. On that trip, they got matching Michelob Ultra, like just the red ribbon tattoos, and then she ghosted him a week later.
Oh, lovely. That's nice.
True story. I hope he doesn't listen to this.
Wow. Ghosted his ass. Jesus Christ. All right, the last comment we got is from Kylene Johnson. She sent a DM to the promo post. "Meh, the original, remake, and all the sequels of I Spit on Your Grave are better than this movie, in my opinion." She said that, not me. I haven't seen those movies because I'm just not a fan of these kind of movies. Like, I watched like the first 20 minutes or so of the new Last House on the Left from 2009. I'm just not a fan of those. They're very uncomfortable, and especially when they get very graphic with the assault scenes. I'm not a fan.
All right, we didn't have any on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter, but we did have one on Blue Sky. Making X2 said, "Pink heart emoji. I checked out Revenge after The Substance, and I've gone back to it many times. Both films are as colorful as they are gruesome. I'd put a down payment on that house and Kevin Jansen's. He is one fine juicy peach with a peach emoji. Revenge showed me that Carly Farjeet has many stories to tell. Love your reviews. Thanks."
Okay, the Book of Faces. This is it. Got one comment from the one and only, like Nico mentioned, Matthew Heffer. "Hi, fellas. Hope you're doing well. Let me start by saying that I am not a big fan of these rape revenge films. It must take a lot for an actress to sign on to do this kind of part, and this actress gives it everything she's got. It was nice of Mike to let them use a spare property to film in. That we agree. I hope all the fake blood didn't stain anything important. Wasn't it South Park that had the joke, 'I don't trust anything that bleeds for a week and doesn't die'? Well, these people lost so much blood, I don't know how they carried on. Agreed. Great location, nice amount of gore, men you want to see punished, and a woman as indestructible as the Terminator with an incredible knowledge of survival skills. Good choice, Dustin.
Thanks.
Well, I am off to finish reading this book, 101 Ways, 101 Ways to Lure an Ex-Wife to the Edge of a Cliff by Wile E. Coyote. His plans always work. All the best from jolly old England. Thank you, Matthew Effer.
Oh, Matthew, my ex-wife, has already went over the cliff, metaphorically speaking, so
Jesus.
You'll get there one day.
That's dark. That's so dark. God almighty.
All right.
You got any fun facts?
I got a couple here.
No.
One of Farjeet's inspirations was the Steven Spielberg film Duel, because it manages to generate tension using so few elements: a car, a truck, and that's it. Carly Farjeet mentioned Wild at Heart, 1990, Drive, 2011, good movie, and Under the Skin, 2013, and the films of David Cronenberg as references for the film in her pitch to potential financiers. I mean, Under the Skin is influential is what I'm hearing, so I was right again. In the start of the film, Jen comes out of the bedroom in the morning to have an apple from the refrigerator. This scene is completely duplicated or copied, her walking in undies and leaning over the refrigerator, and shown in The Substance, also directed by Carly Farjeet, where Margaret Qualley, her character, does the same. And the last thing I've got is that Matilda Lutz is beautiful. Oh, wait, no, that's not it. Matilda Lutz was in The Divorce Party with Katrina Bowden, who was in The Unholy Trinity, which I saw in theater earlier this year. It's a decent little Western with Samuel L. Jackson and also David Arquette.
Hell yeah. I'll do the box office, and brother, this one did not do well. I don't know if you saw what the box office numbers were, but I don't know why it didn't do well. Like, maybe they just didn't know who Corley was enough at the time. But
did anyone hear this movie before I picked it?
I had seen it on like the kill count, but I'd never watched it. Like, I had scrolled past it. That's it.
I just think that they probably had a negative budget, like for marketing. Like, they had to pay the studio to get this movie made. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't really heard of Neon until, the past couple of years. So,
Same.
All right, but the budget for this movie was an estimated $3 million, and the gross worldwide was $938,000 and $55. $938,055. So it didn't do too well.
It didn't. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of money to lose. I'm just glad that it didn't hurt Corley's career. Like, she got to keep going, and then she just made one of the most successful movies, one of the most popular movies of the past several years in The Substance. So good for her.
But that just proves how talented she is, because The Substance didn't get any marketing either. It was freaking from Mubi, for Pete's sake.
Yep.
I've never heard of Mubi. That sounds like Tubi from Temu. Like, what the hell are we doing? Name me another movie. I'll wait.
I do know some, because I looked after The Substance. I looked at Mubi because I was like, do I need to add this to my A24 Neon watch-throughs? So I do know some, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
That's all I'm getting at. Let's jump into our favorite kill, least favorite kill, and the rating. Dusty, you want to kick us off, or I can go first? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, let me go ahead and do it if you don't mind. That way I can tally at the end. My favorite kill was Richard. Like, he was just an absolute dirtbag, and it was a great battle between him and Jen. Like, you really, if the name of the movie wasn't Revenge and she wasn't the poster girl, like, you could really think this fight could go either way. So I think that was great. Least favorite kill was Stan, because he deserved a more painful death. Like, a gunshot to the head, it was too quick for me. Like, he deserved to suffer because he's the one that got all this stuff kickstarted. As for my final thoughts, this movie just gets better every time I watch it. I love seeing people get their revenge and people get their comeuppance. And this movie is, like I said, the embodiment of Go Girl. The directing, the cinematography, the score, also great. I give it an 8.5.
One of the bloodiest movies we've done in a while. I think it was satisfying on-screen death for Richard and great revenge, again, for lack of a better term, for Jen. This man died naked and a fucking loser, and Jen is a heroine. So all in all, I thought it was a great set of closing scenes. Really thought, as far as this subgenre of horror, which is assault revenge, I think this is one of the better ones I've seen. It's better than I Spit on Your Grave or any of these other ones. I think this was a really well done, kind of powerful one, in the sense that she's a badass and she wears her underwear around the house. Big fucking whoop. So I really, really enjoyed that. My favorite kill is Stan. I wish it would have been more on on screen satisfying. My least favorite was Dimitri because I thought it was kind of lame. And I went ahead and gave this movie, after everything I've said, a 7.5. I thought it was really well done. Best movie we've done this month. And if I rated a movie higher in the Neon subcategory, it was a complete accident. This was my favorite movie we've done so far.
All right, I'll go next. My favorite kill, kind of tough for me, honestly, but I chose Dimitri just because the stab to the eye. Whew,
Yeah.
You just don't see those too often. I like that kill. Least favorite kill, I'm going to go with Stan as well. Did you say? You said Stan. You said Stan. I'm going to go with Stan as well, even though I did like the foot slice. I just wish he would have got more. Like, he deserved more than just a gunshot, a couple gunshots or whatever. But that foot wound, I tell you what now, you know that hurt like hell. Like, oh, God, it looked so painful. But I think the movie is well acted, well made. The sound design was incredible. The movie just lost me with how unbelievable all the injuries were. Like, I was mean to Scream about it. I got to be mean to Revenge about it as well. But I do appreciate Coralie Farge's I don't know. One of us is butchering her name, brother. Like, I don't know which one it is, but
Probably both.
yeah, probably. Hey, we're in this together. I think she's very talented. She's a very talented writer and director, and she's one that we'll be keeping our eyes on in the future. Like, she's very talented, and she makes great original stories. But I gave this movie a 6.
Oh, what a coincidence.
Hey,
'Cause I, spoiler alert, gave it a 6 too. But my favorite kill, honestly, it was Jen until I figured out that she didn't die, because I thought that the way she Mortal Kombat onto that spike, you know, the pit uppercut Mortal Kombat off the bridge, that's the original one. Anyway, yeah, I liked that. But real deaths, I guess, Dimitri. Richards, I couldn't get past his dick being out the whole time. It was too wild. That was wild. Least favorite kill, Stan, because I thought I deserved worse. Agreed. Yes, there's just a lot of body horror stuff, but it wasn't gross. I didn't look at it and go, oh, God, that's disgusting, like I did in some parts of The Substance or other whole body horror movies that I'm not going to talk about. But, you know, like Nico said, it was cringy and stuff like the foot cut and stuff like that. Again, you have to really suspend your disbelief, but again, it's a fun little ride. I gave it a 6 as well.
All right. Well, after those two scores that are too low and Mike's 7.5, that gives us a composite score of a flat 7. IMDb, you know, maybe we're not that far off. They have it at a 6.4. Letterboxd 3.5 out of 5. Rotten Tomatoes, though, 92% of critics gave it the thumbs up, which we all did too, 100% of us. So go check it out if you haven't already.
definitely worth a watch. Definitely worth a watch. It's a solid movie. All right, guys, any final thoughts before I just shout out our blood donors? And Brian, you can announce your pick for next week. Mike's doing just a free-themed month. Just shout out our blood donors. Camper Level reoccurring Nina, the Horror Movie Crew podcast, Michelle Mirza, Steve Schmidt, Matt from the UK, one of the funniest guys out there, and Anthony Andrews. Camp Counselor reoccurring Edwin Hernandez-Gunn, Joe Swinford, Adrian Aiello, Brian Samick, Andrew Ferguson, Brooke Maley, Heather Superdoc, Jennifer Davis from the Too Close to Home podcast, Dana Tucker, Cole McAlexander, Max K, Madison Arzola, and Casey Smith. We have 19 people who help us pay for the show, and we really appreciate it. Helps us take a big burden off of us. I mean that sincerely. Brian, what do you pick for next week when we kick off a free theme month?
I picked the new Ice Cube movie award. I mean, I'm sorry, wrong one. The 2005 War of the Worlds remake with Tom Cruise. And listen, I was a little bit under the influence when I was forced to make this pick, but it was still on my list, and I stand by it. I still love this movie, so I'm excited to do it. I think it's a little long, if I'm not mistaken. Pause. Think.
Whoa, it's like 2 hours. It's not that bad.
Okay, not like Richard. Richard was not. Sorry, that was probably unnecessary.
What is
probably
going?
Unnecessary.
Well, all right, yeah, let's just end the show. I don't have nothing to say.
End it.
Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you next week. And in the meantime, take care of yourself.
Just want to remind everybody.